Beneath the surface of our world's history lies a mystery so vast and unsettling that most historians dismiss it as pure myth. But what if the legends were true? What if the ancient stories of towering beings, larger than life itself, were not simply the work of imagination, but echoes of a forgotten reality? Across every corner of the globe, from the Bible to Norse sagas, from Native American traditions to ancient Sumerian tablets, we encounter the same haunting theme: the existence of giants. And tonight we are going to step into the shadows of history, peel back the layers of myth, and confront the question that has been buried for centuries: did giants really walk this earth? The story begins in the distant past, with whispers of beings so tall they could look over the walls of cities, beings who wielded weapons larger than the bodies of men. In the Old Testament, the Nephilim are described as the offspring of the sons of God and the daughters of men, mighty men of renown. In the Epic of Gilgamesh, the great king himself is portrayed as part divine, part human, towering over ordinary men. Even in Greek mythology, the Gigantes rose up to challenge the gods, their colossal forms shaking the heavens. These were not isolated tales. They appear in traditions that had no contact with each other, spread across oceans and continents. How could civilizations separated by thousands of miles all describe the same thing? Was this simply coincidence, or a memory of something real? Archaeologists have unearthed puzzling skeletal remains said to be far larger than any human. Bones reported to measure over 10 feet long, mysterious giant footprints fossilized in stone in the 19th century. American newspapers were filled with strange discoveries: enormous skeletons found buried in mounds across the Midwest, skulls with double rows of teeth, bones that towered above the average man. Many of these stories quietly disappeared, dismissed as hoaxes, covered up, or locked away in museum basements, never to be seen again. But why were these discoveries treated with such silence? Were they too inconvenient, too threatening to the established narrative of human history? The Native Americans spoke of a race of giant beings who once ruled the land. The Paiute people told of the sea-taker, red-haired giants who were fierce and cannibalistic. Eventually defeated and trapped inside Lovelock Cave in Nevada. And when that cave was excavated in the early 20th century, archaeologists did indeed uncover strange artifacts, unusually large sandals, and bones that hinted at beings of enormous stature. Were the legends simply symbolic, or were they testimonies of a war between humans and giants, preserved in memory for thousands of years? In South America, the conquistadors wrote of encountering giant skeletons among the natives of Patagonia. The early explorers described men towering over them, so tall and strong that they seemed like beings from another world. In Asia, ancient Chinese texts speak of giants dwelling in remote mountains, and in Africa, the Zulu remember the Chitauri, sky beings of immense size and power. Again and again, the theme reappears: Giants were not a single culture's fantasy. They were a universal truth, or at least a universal memory. But let us return to the soil beneath our feet, to the structures that still defy explanation. How did the ancients carve, move, and lift stones weighing hundreds of tons? At Baalbek in Lebanon, the foundation stones are so massive that even our modern cranes would struggle to move them. In Cusco, Peru, the walls of lock together with such precision that not even a sheet of paper can slide between them. Could it be that ancient giants, with their sheer strength, played a role in the building of these megaliths? The official story tells us that primitive tools and sheer manpower were enough, but the scale of these monuments whispers otherwise. Perhaps what we are missing is not technology, but biology, beings of such stature that what seems impossible to us would have been possible to them. Of course, many scientists argue against this. They say human remains never show more than a few rare cases of gigantism, a disease that results in unusual growth, but not to the scale of myth. They claim newspaper stories of giant bones were exaggerated or fabricated. But then, why do so many reports exist? Why are there museum records from the 1800s cataloging giant skeletons, later mysteriously removed or lost? Why did the Smithsonian Institution itself, according to whispers and allegations, confiscate and suppress evidence of giants? Is it truly a case of hoaxes, or something more deliberate in attempt to keep us from rewriting human history? Think about it. If we accept that giants existed, we would also have to reconsider the origins of mankind. Were they a different branch of humanity, a race wiped out in some cataclysm? Were they hybrids, as the ancient texts suggest, born of gods and mortals? Or were they something far more mysterious, a relic of a forgotten age that mainstream history refuses to acknowledge? Before we continue, let me ask you, what do you think? Could these ancient accounts really be describing flesh and blood beings? Or are they metaphors for power, for greatness, for something beyond human scale? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. And if you're enjoying this deep dive into history's hidden shadows, don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe to Mysteries of Time, where together we uncover the secrets buried in our past. Your support helps us keep bringing you these stories the world has tried to forget. Now let's step even deeper into the enigma. Consider the Bible's tale of David and Goliath, a shepherd boy facing a warrior so tall and strong that entire armies trembled before him. Was Goliath merely a story of courage, or a real encounter with a surviving giant of the Nephilim bloodline? Some versions of the text describe him as over 9 feet tall, his spear's shaft as thick as a weaver's beam. Archaeology tells us the average height of a man at the time was barely 5.5 feet. Imagine the terror of standing against a foe so massive, so unnatural. And Goliath was not alone. The Bible names other giants in Canaan, the Rephaim, the Anakim. Moses and his people described facing tribes of giants when they entered the Promised Land. In one account, King Og of Bashan was said to have a bed of iron measuring 13 feet long. Skeptics dismiss this as myth, but if myth after myth carries the same theme, at what point does it stop being coincidence? Even today, whispers continue. Strange reports of oversized bones, hidden excavations, and suppressed findings surface every so often, in parts of Asia and the Middle East. Rumors tell of enormous skeletons uncovered and quickly removed. In 2012, photographs claiming to show giant skeletons buried in deserts went viral, only to be declared digital fakes. But behind every fake, one wonders if the smoke is hiding a fire. Are these hoaxes distractions designed to make the entire subject laughable so that the real discoveries can remain hidden? And yet, the fascination persists. Humanity is drawn to the idea that once, long ago, beings larger than life roamed the earth. Perhaps it is because we sense that our history is incomplete, that the story we have been told is missing chapters. If giants truly existed, it would explain so much: the myths, the impossible architecture, the recurring legends across cultures. It would force us to rethink everything we know about who we are and where we came from. As the shadows of history close in, we are left with one lingering question. Why were the giants erased? Were they wiped out by natural disasters, floods, wars with humans? Or were they deliberately destroyed, their existence erased from memory by those who wanted control over the narrative of humanity? Perhaps, just perhaps, they are not entirely gone. Perhaps traces of their blood run through us still, hidden in the tallest among us, echoes of a forgotten race. And so, the mystery of giants remains a story too strange to ignore, yet too dangerous to fully accept. But one thing is certain: the legends are not just stories. They are fragments of a truth we are only beginning to rediscover. The question is, are we ready to face it? Thank you for watching Mysteries of Time. If you're hungry for more, I invite you to explore our other videos where we dive into lost civilizations, forbidden archaeology, and secrets that defy explanation. Because the past is not dead, it's only sleeping, waiting for us to awaken it. And when we do, the truth will change everything.